Good morning, guys. Been watching a few little Quorn videos here lately, and I just watched a long and laborious spiral cut done by Metal Mill. And I wanted to start out showing you, this was my original Quorn spiral column that I cut. This would have been cut back probably in early 2000s. I was just looking through my paperwork on this machine as I built it, and this motor was purchased in 2005. So the Quorn was getting pretty close to being functional at that point in time. So this would have been turned between probably 2000 and 2005. I got the original Quorn book back in '97. It's dated. So anyway, I just wanted to show this is the way it was cut. I used my crude little setup on the milling machine. I'm going to use the exact same setup. It's a little bit bigger. I think I'm going to use the same gear ratio. I think I'm going to use the same spacing. I'm not opposed to that at all, I don't think. I thought scaling everything up, I might want to adjust the spacing on that, give it a little coarser cut, but I don't think I do. I think I'm going to use that same spacing, just it's going to be a little bit heavier head. I want to be able to raise it and lower it, especially raise it, as easy as I can, and maybe that finer thread will make it, you're not crawling it, not having to lift the head quite as much to adjust the height on it. So anyway, exact same setup. I'm probably not going to get to it for another 3 or 4 weeks, I'm guessing, just because I'm still scrounging up some of the parts. I'm missing part of the parts that I originally had set up. The only difference in the way I'm going to cut this is I'm going to cut it with carbide tooling, where the original spiral on the small Quorn would have been cut with high-speed steel tooling. And the only other difference is I'm going to cut it on the G0755 rather than my older Grizzly benchtop mill. So otherwise the setup's the same. It looks like the mounting's the same on the table and everything. So and this is a picture of the setup with it. Hopefully that will show up for you. I'll throw a couple of stills in if that doesn't show up real well. So that was the way it was originally set up, and that's set up with me cutting it. So, or when it was being cut. So this is pretty crude. This is pretty crude here, boys. And I'll take you over the table. I've got the main gearing set up on the table. These are the pictures of the gearing setup right there. So let's go over the table and take a better look at it, and I'll tell you what I've got going here. So here's a look at it from the end. And the things I'm missing to make this fully functional is I'm missing my crude tailstock that mounts out here on the to support the outboard end of the stock, and I'm missing the gear that mounts here. And what I did is I removed the hand wheel on this, built me a little adapter so that I could take another bicycle sprocket, and it's got the 3 little ears on it so it engages. And then I think I had room to put the hand wheel back on, or I had the hand wheel on the other end. I don't remember exactly how I had it set up, but this one I'll run the power feed on the table. And this, according to my little notes, and I haven't counted these, haven't cleaned any of this up, this was a 32 tooth gear, and it goes down. There's another gear mounted on the back of this sprocket, and it's a 14 tooth. This one's a 39, which means this is not a 32 at all. I'll have to count that and see what they are. Maybe this was a 39 and this is a 32, because I've got a note that says need to switch. So I made some changes on this. And then I had a 20 tooth down here. So every time I advanced this, it ran the gearing through and it advanced the spiral. So I'm going to do the exact same setup. It'll be that same setup as I had before. And from the other side, sorry about all this crude camera work here. This is just to give you some ideas anyway. So there's the outboard end. I had drive dog here that we adapted to it, and this is just running the steel setup, and it rotates everything just like that. So as you advance the hand wheel or the power feed, it ran your spiral as it traversed down the table. So I've got to figure out where I put my tailstock, and I've seen both of these pieces that I'm lacking in the other chain. I've seen them kicking around the shop. I know I've got them here. I've got an idea where they are, but every time I look, I'm not finding them. But anyway, that's my crude little setup. Looks like the bolts for the table, the spacing is the same on this table as on my older Grizzly mill. So I can just bolt them right down. We'll lube everything up and clean this up. I've just pulled these out of the archives, and we'll get it adapted up and order some new tooling and turn our pieces for it. So I've been trying to come out every day and grind a few little tools in the morning while the shop's warming up and things like that. While I was digging through looking for my little pictures and drawings, or looking for the rest of my parts, why this morning I was digging through where I thought they might be, and I didn't find them there, but I did find some grinding wheels that I'd bought for the Quorn. Now, this is a new line that I'd bought and had it set up on the Quorn, and then as I'm looking through, I've got two more of these Bay State 4-inch cup wheels. I honestly think that on the standard Quorn, I think these are too large a wheel. I've run this one, and it's a little bit lighter than these Bay State wheels are, which is why they're still brand new and wrapped in bubble wrap. I feel like these are just a little bit too big for the size of the Quorn. 90% of what I've been doing here lately, which is just touching up the cutting edges, the bottom edges on end mills, is I use a little dish wheel, and you've seen that dish wheel run in some of my other videos. That's primarily what I use. It's a small light wheel. It works really well for the ends of end mills. Now, I did just pick up a while back this little cup wheel, and I've got a couple of these now. I've got them set aside. These work okay. They're still, I think they're a little bit heavy. There's so much material there. You're working on that small spindle, and it just doesn't seem to, it seems to be a little bit too much. I just don't particularly care for them. So consequently, the smaller Quorn is going to get relegated to smaller wheels like this dish wheel, and eventually I'll find some other little ones. I've got a few of these little straight Norton wheels which work okay on them. I've got 3 or 4 of these that I use. But the bigger 4-inch wheels and stuff, I think, are just a little bit too much for the Quorn. I'm going to save these wheels because I'll use them on the grown-up. I think that, and that's part of the reason for upscaling or scaling up the standard Quorn into a grown-up Quorn tool and cutter grinder, is I think you've got much more wheels that are available to you. You've got much more versatility with it. We'll have a little more power, we'll have a little more mass, and get going. But anyway, I just wanted to share mainly the setup for turning my spiral on the main column. I've got the material sitting here for both the bed rails and the upper column, so it's been hectic as usual. So we're just going to continue to try and plow ahead. I got to get the molar done, and I've been working on it quite a bit. That's where most of my time's been going. But we're getting closer on it, seeing quite a bit of progress. And we'll get back on the Quorn here directly. Anyway, hopefully you find this useful. Comments or suggestions, leave them in the comments section for me below. Well, we know that one little sprocket that I need, I'm never going to find until I don't need it anymore. So we're just going to go ahead and build a new one. So what we did is we just disassembled a little set of bicycle sprockets here. And according to my little drawing, the original was a 20 tooth that went on the main lead screw or on the handle on the mill. So we have a 21 tooth, which is going to be close enough for this application. I'm not going to sweat it one way or the other. So I took just a drop of aluminum that I had. This was a hole saw cut piece, so that was actually the outer diameter there. And we just made a little step on it. I don't know if that's going to show up. What I'm going to do is once I get the sprocket fitted to it, I'm going to drill and tap a couple of holes, probably a 1032 or something, just to lock it in place. Which the other advantage to that, if it's really an advantage, is I have at least 2 other larger sprockets that were the same size that will fit, you know, if I should feel the need down the road, which I don't know why I ever would. But anyway, when you look at these sprockets, they've got 6 little dogs sticking out of them to align them, to drive off of so that they don't sit there and spin. All right, after a little more foolishness, why, there we've got our hub pressed onto our sprocket. And I have to set this back up, and probably just in the mill, and I'll take the sprocket off of here while I do it, but I probably will go ahead and cut my 3 little divisions there, you know, cut it 3 different ways so it indexes up on the 3 dogs on the spindle collar there. That way it's pretty well permanent, you know, until permanently as far as positioning, and then we'll add one set screw down through it to lock it in place there. I took and just turned a shoulder on it so that this gear would slip on. Had to cut the little recesses. There's 6 little dogs sticking out on that gear, or on that sprocket, that keeps it from spinning. So we just cut those in there and drilled and tapped it for 2. I used 1024s is what I used. And then the backside we machined out to fit on the milling machine table, so it'll index up. Probably could have just drilled and tapped it, put a set screw in there, which we've got a set screw in there anyway, but that probably would have held it, but I would have been a little bit irritated had I got half or 3/4 of the way through this project of cutting this spiral and had the gear slip. So it was worth the time to do it. So let's go down here and look at the setup. So here's our handle on the end. We still got these pieces just set in place. If we take off the handle that's on here, which is just held with one set screw, we take that off of there temporarily. We can then take our little gear with our little dogs on here, and it will slide right on there. Maybe. Maybe. A little bit of a burr there. It will slide right in and interlock on those splines on the back end. We can tighten our set screw. Maybe. Come on, where are you? There we go. So that's locked in place. When we actually do the setup on this, well, I will run this back here to align these 2 sprockets, just like that. And we have enough table to do that, just barely. I do have to pick up some more chain. I'm not sure exactly what happened to my little piece of chain. It's kicking around someplace, probably with that gear. We'll align those. And once that chain's on there, we anchor everything down. And then for a power feed, as we power feed the table, why it'll operate that sprocket, cause these to spin, and we'll get our spiral. We'll run the mill, and just as it traverses across, it'll automatically cut that spiral. So that's our setup, and I'll have to run down to probably the bike shop and get a couple foot of chain and a link so I can hook that up, and then clean everything up. And I found the ragged little tail stock. We'll clean all these pieces up, and here in the next week or so we'll figure out what we're doing for cutters. I'm not sure if I'm going to put a 3/16 or maybe a 1/4 inch spiral in this, and I probably got to order some more tooling. I'll get a couple of fresh cutters here, and then we'll get that part of it done. So anyway, that's where we're at. And that's my little homebrew setup for cutting spirals. So when we get that far, we'll show at least part of the cut, and then we'll have finished product. So anyway, hopefully you found this interesting. I was gonna just stop at the first when I dug out these parts earlier, but we thought we might as well get a little more done. So hopefully you find it a little bit interesting, maybe a little bit of ideas that you can use, and comments or suggestions, leave them in the comment section for me below. And as always, guys, thanks for taking the time to watch.